All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the 5-day energy clearing masterclass. Over these next 5 days, you're going to have a complete method that you can use anytime you feel bad, anytime you feel off, or anytime you want to improve something and feel better. There's so many different uses of what you can do with what we're going to share over these next 5 days. This potentially saves lives. You had a really great win with a young girl. Would you mind sharing that?
Absolutely. So the girl is 9 years old. She had glioblastoma multiforme. It's a brain tumor. It got to the point where she started slurring her speech. Even beyond that, she was forgetting how to drink water. And they told her, look, your daughter has less than a month to live. So just get things ready, decide what you're going to do. And so the doctors in the hospital didn't even want to take the case. They were like, this is a waste of time. We don't think we can do much with this girl. And I said, look, I know this energy clearing that I've been learning. I've been getting really good results with the people that I've been working with. And let's go ahead and try this. And so this girl, she was in a vegetative state. She's unconscious. I worked with her in 2 weeks time, and she was discharged from the hospital. And it was amazing.
How's she doing now? Have you heard from her?
Yeah, she's fine now. She's doing great. Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean, that's the miracle right there. I mean, that's why we're all doing this, for what you're doing for her. That's so amazing.
Believe in yourself. When you learn these skills are very, very powerful. Don't underestimate the subconscious mind and the information that you get. Trust yourself and go full force, all in.
You come here with certain goals or certain challenges, and all the answers are underneath the surface. And when you hear other people's stories, it actually helps you to start to connect the dots. And when you start to connect the dots and you become more aware, that's the clearing process beginning.
I had deep emotional wounding from my childhood and my family, to the degree that I made a decision that I was going to do whatever it took to heal the deep pain inside of me that I felt. I got my psychology degree and I realized I had nothing. I was still feeling the same pain. I was still struggling. I was still in this place of just deep vulnerability. I had worked with so many practitioners. I had worked with so many modalities. I was a practitioner myself. There is no way that I would be where I'm at right now. There is no way that Michael and I would be where we're at in our relationship right now. And there would be no way that I would be out there assisting other people to heal at the level that I do if I hadn't walked through the fires of the depth of the intensity of pain that I was born with, my challenge, right? My stuff, and then had the tools and the techniques, the love and the support of this man. And if I can do what I'm doing now and transform the level of grief, pain, loss, sadness, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, not feeling like I deserved enough, then I know in the core of my being that absolutely every single one of you can do this. And this is why that we're doing what we do, because we have been walking through the fire to be here with you all. And we're so grateful you're here.
What is an emotion? Because if it's not a mystery and you know what an emotion is, it's easier to deal with and navigate through. What is the quality of your energy in motion? Are you feeling good where it's flowing and there's no blocks? Or are you feeling differently and the body maybe has different sensations? Happiness in the center here, where the energy is flowing, no blocks, right? But then we come to an emotion like anger, and it's basically stopped around the liver, and the liver has been closely associated with anger in traditional Chinese medicine. And so that's actually a good point to tap on, which is the rib point underneath the nipple or the base of the ribs. However, it's not so easy as just, okay, I'm angry, I can tap here and it's just gone forever. It's usually a lot more complicated than that. However, the more you clear, the faster your clearings become. In order to get this to work, you have to have the focus. And I'll give you guys a gold nugget that I learned from Joanne Callahan. When you have a fuzzy focus, you get a fuzzy result. Okay, so if you've done tapping before, you've done clearing before, but you weren't really focused, or you never really thought that there was a focus component. Oh, there's a focus component, because it'll make all the difference, if not the difference. So if there's one thing you can walk away from here, it's the awareness and the focus that is so important. So a fuzzy focus creates a fuzzy result. A clear focus creates a what? A clear result. Yeah. So if you are specifically focusing on exactly what's going on, then you use this stuff, now you're hitting it straight on. There's three main areas that your blocks come from. Okay? First is your past, right? What happened in the past where you had a traumatic situation where then it's being re-stimulated today? So a trauma is very similar to a hypnotic state. In fact, when we do hypnosis, we try to stimulate the fight or flight scenario with instant inductions, if you've ever seen it before. We will take their arm and kind of yank it to create like a shock effect and say sleep at the same time, which submits the suggestion so they go into a sleep state even deeper. And so when you're in a traumatic situation, heightened awareness, fight or flight, every single thing that has to do with that situation is being recorded as a post-hypnotic suggestion to think that the shower means death. So she had many circumstances with shower, meaning pain, meaning I don't have my mom, meaning maybe death. And so anytime she has the shower, she's freaking out and she doesn't know why. And this goes for almost anything, anywhere. It could be a loud sound with a car driving by while you're laying down unconscious. It could be a certain phrase that someone says that now that suggestion sticks with you. Most of the issues are coming from your past. In this life, and of course, going into past lives. And that's a whole thing too. Ashley asks, does talking about your past, blocks, trauma, etc. push you into your system more, like engaging in therapy, for example? Does that hinder the process or help? This is a great question. Anytime you talk about something and it brings up the feeling, it actually adds more mass to the block. It's kind of like the onion thing. I mean, this upside down pyramid is one way to depict it, but really I think it's more like the onions, because you have like a bunch of different onions and all these different past tracks. And every time you talk about it and you bring up the emotion and you're not letting it go and you're not clearing it and you're adding more to it, and then you're thinking of other ideas, it does make it more powerful and it does add to it. Like traditional therapy, like talk therapy, just makes it worse. Unless you have a practitioner that's actually helping you clear it in a way. Because you can bring it up in a way where you're surrendering to it and you're allowing yourself to let it dissipate. So if you do it in that way, you're letting off the steam instead of adding to it with new ideas of why you support it, then it will be getting stronger. Rosemary asks, so every time we focus on it in our thoughts, that adds to it as well, right? Think about this. What past horrible or difficult or painful situation that you had in the past did you think about again and again and again and again and again and again over the past many years? Can you think of one, or do you think there might be one, a circumstance where you've thought about it dozens or maybe hundreds or maybe thousands of times? And our thoughts energy. And if you keep thinking about the same event over and over again, does that then add more mass to the memory? And I hope that was a great question to help you have a realization of, oh, maybe it does add to it. The next way is in your DNA. We all came into this life from our mom and our dad. You know, how many people in your history that goes back at least 7 generations of their stuff has been passed down the line to us? It's very similar to how we have these post-hypnotic like suggestions of trauma states, like the shower with Lotus. It works very similar in the DNA. And when you get more advanced, you can actually test exactly where it comes from in the DNA And like Lotus has been able to do after all these years of us clearing, and other people as well, you can actually tune into, we'll find exactly which part of the DNA it's in, and then you can actually start to see the scene. Lotus, I think we did one like yesterday or the day before, very similar to this, right?
Oh my God, you guys, it is so stunning as you start developing your abilities and you start to clear the mass, right, that you kind of came in with or got produced in your childhood. Now, when we go into an issue, so last night I had a deep emotion come up. It was like some sort of rage. And so I sat with it, right? You want to acknowledge it, feel it, go into it. You learn the skills of how to do that. And as I'm tuning into it, it's like I'm transported back and I'm suddenly like, oh my God, this is my father's DNA. This is my ancestry. It's on the battlefield. It's the fighters and the warriors in my family's line. I'm on the battlefield. I can see the fighting. I can see the blood, the sweat, and the tears, right? And the feeling of like the battle rage that came through the DNA on that battlefield. Like my eyes turn red. And I'm seeing that this came down through my lineage. And it's almost like I'm holding the weapon in my hands, like I am that warrior. But I'm here, I'm right now, but I'm having the visceral experience of tuning back into that memory, tuning into the DNA, tuning into the root of it, going back in time. And then when you can start to clear from that space of having the cognitions and the awarenesses, and I know some of you here also have this ability because I've worked with some of you and you all tune in and you all see these things and feel them. And when you get to that place and that space, the ability to clear at a profound level is just over the top.
Some person might be like, okay, Lotus, that sounds interesting and all, but are you just imagining that? And here is the answer. And I learned this from different hypnotherapists that we would all practice past life regressions. And I had a teacher who did not believe in past life regressions, although he still did them. And the agreement was, whether it's real or imagined, the person still gets the results. And so at the end of the day, you're really just observing what's going through your mind. Whatever goes through your mind is the right answer. Just like Dr. Samir said, the subconscious is powerful. Trust the answer and trust what comes up. There's no wrong answer. And someone says, I don't feel anything. I feel calloused. I feel numb. So you feel numb. That's actually a feeling. There's no wrong feeling. There's no wrong awareness. There's no wrong picture. There's no wrong sound. There's nothing wrong anywhere. We are where we are. And the outside layer of the onion is your outside layer. And that's where you start. And that's where you work on. And what's the most amazing is no matter where the root comes from, just like how it's been unfolding for Lotus, it unflows naturally and you get the answer. And that's how you can become more psychic and more aware, is because you've cleared everything in the way to become more aware.
Stella added a good comment.
She says, interesting. I can also now see an ancestry for myself and others since the 3-day workshop with Michael and Lotus. Oh, very cool. Yeah, so we did a 3-day workshop, which is different than this one because this one is mainly, we're giving you the training on the tools on how to clear. We also have different workshops where we basically bring you through a framework of how to go clear, which is different. You know, you learn how to clear on your own, which is good, but then there's actually certain processes you do that leads you through. How do you clear all that? Well, we bring you through that process, and we did a 3-day workshop that does that. And so the fact that you were able to get into your ancestry with that is actually phenomenal, because that wasn't supposed to happen that fast. Clearing in your DNA, right? I remember we had Maury on our call once, and he was saying how his family always manifests car crashes, right? And so you can think about in your family, like in my family, like what is the pattern of relationships? What's the pattern of money? What's the pattern of happiness or unhappiness? What are the patterns that happen that everyone kind of has in our family? It's very likely that those are the DNA blocks. The most amazing thing about this part is when you work on those areas, it actually starts to shift other people in your family. Because when you change that DNA that you're connected with, that you share these different gene qualities with, for whatever reason, it clears them too. We had a woman who was really distraught about her daughter going off to a different town in college and drinking. And she was really worried because there was alcoholism in the family. And so we worked on with her. I worked with just the mom. We worked on clearing alcoholism and how her, I think her mother and her grandmother also had it. And then we also worked about her concern about how her daughter was starting to drink. And then I get a message and she says, my daughter stopped drinking without me saying anything. And then I checked in like 5 or 6 months later and she's like, yeah, she found a new group of people and she's been doing great. I'm like, that's amazing. And the next one I'm going to talk about is energetic influences. And this has a couple different areas. One of which being people in your life, other people. They can be an energetic influence, right? Family, things you've taken on, friends, TV, movies, school. People you hang around with take on their own, friends develop their own group consciousness that you kind of slip into and have the same behaviors and phrases and things, right? Then there's also entities and demonic forces, and that's a whole thing. There's that. But you know what the great thing to know is? What we do, it clears those. When you go through and you're doing the sort, even though I feel this heaviness as if someone is just like sitting on my shoulders right now, and as you're acknowledging it, in the light of your awareness, which is basically God, is put on it as you become aware of it and you're clearing the blocks to it, you clear it without doing all this advanced stuff to find it. Sometimes it's needed, for sure. But a lot of the times, you can do this without trying to find, is this a past life thing? Is this a DNA thing? Is this some kind of demon? It's whatever you feel, and you use the process with it, and it clears this stuff off.
I had a friend whose dog had eaten poisonous mushrooms. She called me up in tears. She'd taken it to the veterinarian. Dog was throwing up, was having convulsions. And the veterinarian said, there's nothing I can do. You're just going to have to wait it out, and hopefully the dog will make it. And she's just crying. I'm on the phone with her. So I say, please go and, put your hands on the dog, be close to the dog, and I'm going to lead you through some tapping. I think this might be able to help. So I just had her, I'm on the phone. I had her be right near the dog. I led her through the tapping protocol. And within 30 minutes, the dog had stood up. It hadn't been able to go to the bathroom. The dog stood up, went outside and went to the bathroom. The next day, we thought we should continue the treatment to make sure we'd gotten all of the toxins out of the dog. We did another 30-minute session. Dog got up, went to the bathroom, did number 2. She's never been more excited for that animal to go number 2 because it hadn't been able to go to the bathroom because of the toxins. The dog lived. Okay. So I was able over the phone to lead her through the tapping sequence to clear the toxin out of the animal. So anything you want to clear, especially if you have permission, you can clear. And I've experienced this firsthand. And I now get to know that I help this doggy to live with this protocol.
And so what it comes down to is you can go into these advanced procedures and know exactly where it comes from. But really, where you're going to make the most progress is, okay, now that I know that, maybe when these ideas come to me, I can kind of feel and figure that out. But really, you're just going to be focusing on what's on the surface and clearing that. And what's on the surface now, clear that. What's on the surface now, clear that. What's on the surface now, clear that. And you'll find out eventually, if you have the awareness and you're clear enough to have that awareness, you're going to know where it's from anyways. And so you don't really need to know where it's from. All you need to know is to be aware. Before we go, I'd like to do a clearing with you guys now. So let's start off with just rubbing your sore spot, which is just stimulating the neural lymphatic system at the top of your chest. You can take the back of your fingers or your thumbs or your fingers. I like to use the back of my fingers. Just kind of rubbing it in a circular motion and just notice how you feel. And you just say to yourself, it's okay to feel like this. I love and accept myself with who I am and where I'm at. And just allow yourself to feel and relax. It's going to be a key component. I'm very excited for tomorrow's process, by the way. I think it's going to be revolutionary for a lot of you. And then we're going to do the head squeeze on exhale 9 times. So just be aware of where you're at, anything in your awareness, any feelings you may have, and do head squeeze on exhale 9 times, where we simply just squeeze on the head on the exhale. Just a few grams of pressure. Notice how you feel. Go through it 9 times. If there's anything on the surface, just keep your attention on it. If you're just wanting to feel better, that's a good place too. Next, focus on your crown chakra and do the head squeeze on exhale twice. Think and look and see and feel into your crown chakra. And notice if you feel any shift or difference there. Okay, very good. Yeah. Next, I want you to feel into your heart space. This is not the heart chakra, but the heart field. We call it the middle dantian. So chakras are like a high frequency spiritual energy, and then you have like an electric field, which is like the heart field. Focus on that. Do the sore spot and just tune into your heart. And if you notice anything there, just acknowledge it by saying something like, even though I may feel a little heaviness or tightness or a block in my heart, I love and accept myself. If you don't feel anything there, you can say something like, it's okay to feel good in my heart. I allow myself to feel good here. It's okay to have love. You're going to notice when we introduce these types of feelings and shifts, it's a very easy, light intention. There's no force, right? If it fits, good. If it doesn't fit, oh, well, what is it not fitting into? Acknowledge that, right? Okay, so tune into yourself again. Acknowledge how you feel. Do you feel a negative emotion or a positive emotion? And on what scale of a 1 through 10 is the intensity on that positive or negative? Tap your chin. Tap the top of your head, right in the top of the center. Tap your chin again. Rub the sore spot again. Acknowledge how you feel again. Notice if there is another layer you're noticing, or a different feeling, or another sensation, or another resistance to the positive feeling you're bringing up right now. Good. Now, notice how you're feeling. Tap the collarbone. Tap your ribs. Right at the base of the ribs. Do the head squeeze, exhale once. Focus on your throat chakra. Tap your collarbone, focus on your throat again. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Now see if you feel any different now compared to before. Okay. Very good. Anybody feel a difference? I mean, anybody feel a little better? Hey, and if you feel worse, I would jot that down as a thing to work on. Because what we're going to be doing, and one of your one thing I encourage you to do here for tomorrow, is to make a list of things to clear, because I'm going to have you run through this procedure a bunch of times, and you're going to have a lot of opportunity to clear a bunch of things. Oh, I don't know if I have this with me right here, but I have personally a red book of everything that I can think of or that comes up that I can clear. And so I just have a list of it. It's nice to have a little history as well. Like, I want to think about things like a past traumatic situation I've been through that might be affecting me still. I would write that down. I would think about times during the day or times I feel uncomfortable. Like, it's hard for me to speak in front of people. It's hard for me to talk to women or men when I want to approach them. It's hard for me to do this. It's hard for me to do that. I have an issue with this. I have an issue with that. Write a list of anything and everything you can think of and just write them down. Because we're going to go through this procedure a bunch of times. I'm going to make you guys experts at this. You're going to come out of this program to clear at a whole nother level, which is very exciting. We have a couple groups. We have a Facebook group and we have a Telegram group. One of the things that I've noticed that people love about these classes is the community. You know, it's great to have the how-to and the steps and the instruction, but it's a whole nother thing when you have a bunch of people that you are learning with and are clearing with, and you are hearing people having success stories, and it motivates you to keep doing it. Isn't that so cool? Right? To see the success stories and be like, wow, actually, a lot of you already know how to do some of this stuff, right? But just to hear how it's working maybe motivates you more, which is important, right? And in Jinn, we know that relationships is what holds the system all together. So powerful. So yeah, Lotus just shared, we got a Facebook group, and we'll also have a Telegram group. If you can join the Telegram group, I have a lot of training in there too. If you guys are into this and you want to learn more, I've talked about a lot of subjects and how to apply this. Because after you learn what you learn here, and then you go and you listen to those, you can take off to another level. Share with friends. Do you know anybody else who might enjoy this? Let them know. Send them a message. The gift for them to be on this with us, is everything. Hey, it's great to watch the recording too, but feel free to share. Get excited for tomorrow. We're going to be here, same place, same time. Should be the same link too. And we're going to go deeper and actually start to go into the nitty-gritty and share with you guys the techniques. And I'm going to be sharing with you something I have not shared anywhere else or gone into depth with, which is going to be really powerful and actually very simple to use. Did you enjoy today? Yeah, cool. We'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Take care. Bye-bye.